That's what I feel coming in. So. But I'm doing it anyway. It's okay. I know I've talked too much. No, I haven't. You're right.
Do I have that look? No, my look is that if anyone would be willing to volunteer in any way to help the campaign, I have a little sheet up here for anyone to sign, because as you know, everything makes a difference, and your help, every teeny bit, if you're willing to make calls, pass the word, whatever it is that you're willing to do, especially this population, we really need it, so.
Yeah,
you ask everybody to register to vote?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'll
That's a
register to
biggie.
vote.
That'd be a good idea.
That'd be good.
Yeah, you ought to do that.
And make your friends.
You know what's interesting about this district, the 24th district? 20 or so universities and colleges are here. You're among them. And it's one of the most heavily populated districts in the country with universities and colleges. And yet, I'll bet you very few people think about that as the single biggest resource we potentially have in this district in upstate New York. All you guys, or most of you guys, are going to get educated and go someplace else to seek out opportunity. New York ought to be sucking the life out of Hamilton College to keep you people right here, but we haven't done that. We've given you a lot of reasons to leave. You see it, right? Go out the door and find a job. What are you going to do? So, yeah, if anybody wants to sign up, it's fun. The Republican Party has just moved. It can be fun. The Republican Party actually has an office here now, right, Justin? This is the #1 race in New York, other than Mr. Reed's race, which he really doesn't have any opposition, in the 29th. They think this is the first seat they'll take back. Last time I ran, I couldn't draw flies from them, which is fine. Well, I write pretty much everything myself with Renee, and we work, and Justin. We all kind of collaborate. We don't use much that comes out of Washington. We use facts and figures, but not the conversation. They've opened up an office in Utica. They'll have a bunch of people from Washington, right, Justin? Making phone calls and doing all the things they do, and if we're lucky, that'll be a good thing. You know, it isn't always. Yes, ma'am.
I have one last question. You mentioned, talking about where candidates stand. I just wanted to ask you about if you could clarify your position on the mosque.
Yeah,
I know that you've had a
fair.
couple different.
Well, I haven't, but I mean, I appreciate. That's a real fair question, because I stumbled by not finishing what I said, and I think also kind of trying to look at it globally. My natural instinct is that I know constitutionally it becomes a local zoning issue. They have a right to build a mosque there, and that fundamentally believe that our enemies are Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, if you will, and beyond that, our biggest enemy is just hate, and that this country was built out of a desire of people to leave one place and go someplace where they had religious freedom. I also believe deeply that the people who don't want it there are not xenophobic or anti-religious, that they have, a lot of them have deep kind of resentment and innate suspicion, and then I think it would be appropriate for the people who want to build this mosque to say, listen, we get it, we understand, and move it someplace more palatable to all the people who suffered and all the people who feel differently about it. Every right has a responsibility, and I think we all have to be reflective of what our responsibilities are. And I get the sense that the people who want to build this mosque are less thoughtful about that than I'd like them to be. But it's a local issue, and it's an issue that angers a lot of people instantly. And again, I would like to see them be reflective and relocated, frankly. It's tough. It's tough.
I'm just curious, you said you wanted to simplify the tax structure, and I thought what are your ideas on that? Would you support something like the fair tax, or how would you want to go about that?
I think flat taxes make sense. Certainly make more sense than what we have. I mean, we have the most complicated tax system in the world. And every additional layer of rules and regulations becomes a disincentive to pay taxes, to depart, to gain, whatever. We need simpler tax. I mean, every year, it's like a new Full Employment Act for accountants, and, you know, we need a much, much simpler tax code. One that people can just generally understand with, I think, fewer layers, progressive tax code, which we have. Yeah, I like the idea of a flat tax that allows for itself to be progressive. The problem with some taxes are that, funny point is you drive down the thruway is supposed to be free. How many years ago? And there it is, $5 from here to wherever. Taxes never go away. They just find new ways to spend money. In New York State, every time they run out of money, there's a new fee or a raised fee or something. It's just brutal. A lot of hidden taxes too. Just compliance is a hidden tax.
Also, one more question, actually. Sort of spending cuts, what would your ideas be? One thing would be privatizing Social Security, or what would your...
Privatizing Social Security is not something I would be in favor of. The most important thing about Social Security is that it's secure, right? It's a good system. It's just being rated by the federal government who has these IOUs, and theoretically when the time comes in 2016 when it starts to go the other way, they'll start paying it back, and in 2037 it'll be broke because there'll only be one person working and one person collecting. So it is a problem. It's sustainable for the moment, and government has to find a way to cut back in order to pay that, because now it's like having a cash register that they can go to and pull money out of, and that's going to go away. But if you notice, for the last 10 years, the markets have been essentially flat. With dividends are up slightly, but that causes a lot of people a great deal of anxiety. So the idea of privatizing it that was talked about a lot has been squelched because people don't believe what they used to believe, and that is that things don't go down, they only go up.